Not long ago, Lenovo debuted this guy, the Smart Clock Essential, and when it debuted, we kind of felt like this was going to be a great play for the holidays. It would go on sale, it'd be easy to get a hold of, and it's a clock and a smart speaker kind of all in one, and so it just looked like this great gift idea, this great smart speaker, smart home kind of device. And so now that it's on sale at quite a few places for only 25 bucks, we wanted to get our hands on it, unbox it, and see if it's worth your money. All right, so without any further ado, let's just jump into this box here. And we're not expecting a whole lot of crazy, amazing things with the boxing here because, again, this thing is 25 bucks. We bought this at our local Best Buy, and I would assume that we'll see similar deals at other stores as the next couple months wear on. But this device from Lenovo is not trying to do anything special. It's not trying to create some brand new experience or blow your mind in any way. It's essential, just like it says on the box. And the whole idea here is to basically create the most minimal experience you need. It doesn't have a crazy display on it that's doing anything special. It's just a clock display that's going to get you a speaker that has some smarts to it and gets out of the way. And I'll be frank, in my bedroom, this is kind of an attractive package here because ultimately we have an alarm clock sitting on a table in our room that we can see from the bed. So if I wake up and look, I can kind of see that clock. But it's got that huge green kind of backlight to it. So honestly, when I wake up and at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and trying to orient and figure out what time it is, I look over and that thing is just blinding. And I don't know, I just don't love it. It's battery powered and it's awkward and it doesn't do anything other than show us the time. This gives us time, some weather, and again, it gives us a smart speaker. So I could replace one of my Nest Minis that's in our bedroom and kind of gives all of those functionalities in one thing, assuming the speaker sounds decent. So we're kind of hopeful that the speaker is at least going to sound good and that the display is nice and crisp looking and easy to see from across the room. Let's see here. Let's be honest, I'm not going to read this. You're not going to read this. But, you know, some basic paperwork there. What do we got? Barrel charger. I was kind of hoping for USB Type-C, but again, it's 25 bucks. So the lesser development that they can do is probably what they're going to go for every single time, because ultimately with USB-C, even though it is universal, they've got to put some effort into it to make the charging and stuff work. So generally when we're unboxing cheaper or more affordable hardware, a USB Type-C is not going to be part of the equation. Man, see, I already love the way this thing looks. Look at that. It's got that cool cloth look to it here. The back section here that you can see looks a little transparent. It's actually like a night light, so I'm not sure how exactly that works, whether it's a motion or you gotta touch it or not sure. Then you got like some clicky buttons up top. So plus and minus, obviously for volume. It looks like a play button. Maybe that's play pause. We'll figure that part out. And then I'm assuming the alarm is where you'll click to set your alarm. So if you're old school and you want that alarm clock like next to your bed that you can hit something, I don't know how the snooze will work on this either. We'll have to figure that part out. But ultimately, this is going to be that kind of simple clock interface that a lot of us are used to, just a straight up digital clock. Again, we're not talking about some fancy LCD screen here that has touch capacity. I don't know that this is a touch screen at all. This is just a clock with a decent speaker in it, with a nice aesthetic that's pretty affordable for you to use, with a nightlight, and there's a USB-C or a USB-A, port right here on the back that you can actually plug a charging periphery onto. So if you need to charge something like a smartwatch or something like that, you can use this to plug that thing into and charge your accessories as well. And then clearly a mute switch for the mic here, and then just your power. So again, it's simple. There's not a whole lot going on, but as you can see, this thing is very attractive, like very, very attractive looking, very nice and compact. It's going to look good on just about any table, I would assume. So, and I don't know if you can pick those up there, but we actually have a dual array microphone here too. So usually when you have a couple mics, it means it's better at picking your voice up from across the room. So I think there's going to be a lot of things to like about this. Nice solid rubber feet there. So once you got it set, it is going to stick in place as well. But we are going to plug this thing in and get it set up on our network real quick and see how the screen looks, see what the speaker sounds like most importantly, and see what these buttons do exactly real quick. Okay, so we got this thing all set up, and just like any other smart speaker, the setup process is pretty simple. Get the Google Home app on a tablet or a phone or whatever. It'll see the device, click through the buttons, attach it to your account, all that good stuff, and then you're set up and ready to go. And one of the cool perks here is that since this is a smart clock, even though the face of it is very much like a clock face, it doesn't do anything special or have any funky animations or screens to swipe through. Sometimes with a face this simple, you would think, I'm going to have to go set the time and everything. Well, it's a smart clock, so it, caught up on the time immediately, caught up on the weather. So it's good to go, ready to go right out of the box. And that's just kind of a nice touch of having a smart clock set up via the Google Assistant, because you don't have to mess with all of that kind of stuff. Now, onto it as a smart speaker. We did play back a couple songs. We can't do all that stuff on camera because of licensing and all that stuff, but ultimately it sounds really nice. I think Nest Mini kind of sound. So nice and round and surprisingly full for something this tiny. And it's probably gonna be really good for spoken audio. Not gonna blow your mind. It's not gonna hear every bit of the bass lines that are present in all songs, but I think for a speaker that's going to live in your room, probably right beside your bed, it's going to do really well for basic audio playback, and most songs are going to sound pretty nice on it. One of the other primary functionalities this thing will serve as is as an alarm clock, and ultimately I did have to go and break the paperwork back out and figure out how to manipulate the buttons to remove alarms, because I kept setting alarms and messing around with stuff, and next thing I knew I had like 8 of them set. The whole interface is pretty simple as far as checking your alarms, removing your alarms, snoozing your alarms, but setting them isn't so easy. But you can just use your voice to do that. So say I need to set an alarm for Mondays at 7 a.m. Okay, Google, set a repeating alarm for Mondays at 7 a.m.
Every Monday at 7 a.m. Set.
And you can see, as soon as I hit the alarm button, you see 7 a.m., you see Monday, and it has an 01 down there showing that that's alarm number 1. If I go and set more alarms, it'll just keep kind of stacking them in there. And then if I want to delete them, I just click through my alarms by clicking the alarm. Let me set a second one. Hey Google, set an alarm for tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Tomorrow at 5 p.m.
So now we'll see, I've got the original one I set. Click it again, I've got the 5 p.m. and it just keeps kind of cycling through. But I don't want that alarm for 5 p.m. tomorrow, so I'm just going to hit the minus, the volume minus, and the alarm button, and that one gets deleted and it's gone. So it's a nice touch. It's an easy way to get through all of your alarms and have your alarm set. You can set multiple days, you can set every other day, you can set repeating, you can set one-time alarms and all that kind of stuff. And then when that alarm does go off, you click any of the 3 buttons that is not the alarm button. The alarm button will dismiss it, but the first 3 buttons will snooze it for 10 minutes. And so it's a nice basic setup for an alarm clock. Again, I wouldn't go through the problem and the difficulty of trying to manually create the alarms. You got to click through the buttons and up and down, and that feels like an old alarm clock that I frankly don't want to mess with. Using your voice feels like the way you're supposed to set an alarm in 2020, and so this thing does a really good job of that. I don't know what the max amount of alarms this thing will hold. We had 8 or 9, I think, in here at one point in time, so I don't know how many alarms most people need, but I would assume that the number that it can hold is going to do enough for you and probably whoever you need to set this alarm for. And finally, this is kind of just an add-on perk that you have here, but it's got a nightlight around the back. We kind of showed you that there at the beginning when we got it out of the box. All you have to do is hold the volume down and it will come on. And it looks pretty dim right here. I would imagine that's probably plenty at night if you sleep in the dark, but you can ask Google to adjust it. Hey Google, change the nightlight brightness to 100%. And honestly, under studio lights, that looks pretty bright, and I would assume that that's way too bright. Probably somewhere around 50% is what you're gonna want. But once you get up, do what you gotta do, lay back down, hold that minus button down for a second, and off goes the nightlight. So again, a nice little functional thing for you to have next to you in the bed. And I think, some of the smart displays are nice, and they do a lot of stuff that this doesn't do. And that's great, but ultimately, for something that's gonna sit beside my head at night when I go to bed, I just need it to be able to wake me up, maybe play a little bit of music for me, and that nightlight functionality is just kind of a nice add-on perk, and it can charge one of my devices. Like, this is a great thing to have at your bedside table, and for 25 bucks, I mean, it's just an easy sell. I think it's a great device. It'd make a great gift this holiday season. And for me personally, I mean, we didn't get this as a review unit. I went and bought it for 25 bucks. I want this as my alarm clock sitting next to my bed so that I could set it maybe as a backup to my phone or something like that. And always just kind of have something there to wake me up in the morning as a nightlight, charge my smartwatch, all that kind of stuff. So I think Lenovo's killing it with this thing. It's going to sell well and do really well. And it's been pretty cool just to unbox it and see it all in action here. But guys, that's been it for this one. If you like this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button as well, and don't forget to hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Till next time, we'll see you.